Hello everybody, welcome back to our next edition of the monthly blog. Today, beginning of April, so let's see. The most West indices are moving upwards in the month of March, so we only have a quick look at the FTSE 100 of England. So you notice we draw previous month we draw this red rectangle, so that was a important resistance. I'm gonna zoom in the chart. I'm gonna extend this rectangle, and you notice that in March we break through, and we are trying to extend this upward move. And yeah, it would be very nice if it's possible to break through this resistance. You've noticed that we saw a big upswing, but the FTSE wasn't able to break through. So now it's really important that the price, the index, stays above this 7,750 zone, so it doesn't break through downwards, because that would mean that this upcycle has ended, and yeah, it could mean we possibly gonna test again this upward trend line. So yeah, it will take some time that the index will be moving up again. So for now, I think everything is really okay. But as I said, it would be really important that if we are able to break through the 8,000, the top, and also a nice rounded number. So I think it will be really tough to break, but we will see. Perhaps in a few weeks, in April, we will be able to break through, and that would be very nice. And if the FTSE 100 is capable to break through, I think that all the other indexes like the CAC 40, the Germany DAX 40, the BEL 20, and the AX 25 will be able to make also newer highs. So we're gonna take the next tab, that is the S&P 500, and also here, of course, we see a nice uptrend. We see the price is above his 50, is above his 200 days moving average. Last time we drew a red rectangle, and we also drew a first important short time support zone. So let's zoom in, and for the last 6 months. So we noticed that this was a Fibonacci line of I think 127. So we see that the price is moving around. So this Fibonacci zone is some sort of magnets. So it's really working okay. So it would be nice that the price would be, well, moving around this zone, and maybe that when the 50 days moving average, when the price Fibonacci and this moving average is forming some sort of cluster that is able to push the index really through this Fibonacci zone, and maybe the price can continue higher. So we have here a zone. Maybe we can draw another zone. We have here a little gap. We have here a top. We have here some bottoms all around the same number. So I can draw a little support zone that is more for the small time investor. So yeah, if the S&P 500 is able to stay above this zone, for now it's the same price level as the 50 days moving average, then yeah, I think everything would be okay. So that means the S&P 500 needs to stay above the 50-50 zone. Okay. If you're looking a little bit more up in a bigger time view, take a time range, I would say the S&P 500 may not fall below that 47.50 zone. If you're going to have a view to the Nasdaq 100, of course, there we see also the same nice uptrend. We have changed our candle last time, so we are moving in a speed level. We are leveling a little bit up. So it's really important that the index is staying around this uptrend trend line, and also is staying above this 50 days moving average. We see that the price is a little bit, the distance between the price and the 50 days moving average is a little bit smaller than the S&P 500. I'm going to show you S&P 500 again. So we see a little more in percentage, a little more difference between both. So yeah, it will be very important that we stay above. I could also zoom in this chart to see what is really important. I'm gonna extend this trend line is a channel, is our channel. So I'm gonna move it like this. So we have a little bit of support around that zone. We can say that's 17,500. So it would be very important that I think small and medium term that we stay above that zone. Now I'm going to show you a really interesting tab. I call it Varia, and here we see the Nasdaq 100 and the SP 500 on the same chart, and we see the beginning of January. The orange dotted line is the Nasdaq 100, and the white dotted line is the SP 500. So we notice in January 2023, the Nasdaq 100 made the low was around the same level as November. But SP 500, the low was a little bit higher. So we saw that SP 500 was performing better than the Nasdaq 100. But then in the uptrend move from January, February 2023, we noticed that the Nasdaq 100, so the technology shares, are moving a little bit faster. So that was the first, you can say, alert that we should be very attentive on the performance of all the tech companies. A little bit further, we see a pullback from February to March 2023, and we noticed that the bottom of the Nasdaq 100 was around, we could say the high of December 2022. The SP 500 was falling below that level. So at that moment, we noticed that the Nasdaq 100 was performing better. And between January 2023, till now, we could say that always the Nasdaq was making higher highs and higher lower lows against the S&P 500. So if we look now what's happening today, I'm gonna make a little zoom the last 2 months of both indices. And we notice that the white dots are still making newer highs, and since March, I will maybe do a little more zoom. Since March, we noticed that the Nasdaq 100 hasn't been able to make newer highs. So our leading index, the index that was pulling all the indexes above, is a little bit moving not so good as the other indexes. So that's making me a little bit wondering if we are seeing some sort of consolidation. Maybe it's only a consolidation in time. So that means that the price will stay around the same level and would be re-rendering around the same price level. Or maybe we will see some consolidation in price. That means that we could see some correction of 5, 10, maybe 15%. So I think that's important to notice, to look at the main ingredients, the main components of the Nasdaq 100. So of course we all know that Nvidia, Microsoft, Alphabet, Meta are some of the best performing stocks of the Nasdaq 100. So it's really important to follow up those 4 companies. So if the Nasdaq 100 isn't able to remain above that 50 days moving average, it's always a good thing to take when you have a lot of profits for 50 to 100%. You can always take some gains. You can say if you have bought some actions, you can always sell 30%, 50, 25 to 30% of your positions in certain good companies to take some profit off. So that's really important to to follow up the Nasdaq 100, what's is going surely against the S&P 500. If the S&P 500 remains high and the Nasdaq 100 remains low, maybe if the Nasdaq 100 could do something like this. If he is creating a newer low, just lower than the low in about mid March, and the S&P 500 remains above, it's not a good sign. It's not a good sign. So it's really important to focus on the Nasdaq 100 and hope that the Nasdaq 100 remains very strong. So a consolidation in time would be very nice. If we're gonna look to the dollar index, the future dollar, the DX, we see that the dollar is a little bit improving. So it's a little bit looking upwards in the month of March. Also, the beginning of April, it's going a little bit upwards. If we take a little bit of a zoom, if we're zooming in the chart, we see that it's fighting with this upper resistance around 104, 105. So maybe it is able to test this uptrend line. So if that's the case, that would be very nice for the people who have bought, surely the European people who have bought US shares. So as the US dollar is improving. But what is also really nice to see is we see an uptrend, a little bit of an uptrend short term in the dollar. But we also see, and that's what we was hoping for, that the gold price is also moving very hard. We hoped, I've told in the month of March, that would be very nice if this gold price is able to pushing really hard. We need some volatility in the gold price, and that's what we saw in March. So that is really good. And also the dollar is improving. The gold price is improving, and that's something I really like. I've noticed when we look back in 15, 20, also 5 years back in time, and we compare the gold price and the dollar price, we always say both need to, one is moving upwards, the other is moving downwards. But we notice in the beginning of a new cycle, a new house in the gold price, a lot of times the dollar price is also moving upwards, even with the gold price. So maybe this is also the case. So for the gold price is important to it needs to remain surely above its highs of 20, you could say 2070. But of course we have a big upswing, a little bit of consolidation and time, I could say. If I take a zoom of the chart, we could add now some support around. I take the high of this. You notice this breakthrough. It tested this high. So short time, I could say this. Of course, we have the highs here. So there's a little bit support around 2220. But I think the gold price needs to stay above the 2160. I suppose the price continue to go higher. I think that the 50 days moving average will move very quick upwards to that zone of 2150, 2160. So gold price need to stay above that level. If it is not able to do that, of course we have that support of this zone, the 2050. But I think if we really see a new uptrend in gold and in silver, the gold price must stay above the 2160, 2150. I think that's really necessary. When there is really an uptrend and house, gold move, a bull move in the gold price, the pullbacks are really quick, very heavily, but it's newer highs, newer high lows are making. So that is really important. So here's a little chart also, but where you see the difference between the gold price and the dollar price. So if I zooming in, you notice the uptrend in the dollar. You notice also the uptrend in the gold price. When we zoom in a little bit out, we see a new little bit of uptrend in the gold price from October 2018 till September 2020. And you also see that the dollar price isn't falling, what it normally should be doing. So also here we see this. When we look back longer time, we also notice this when we have a new uptrend, beginning of a new uptrend, like here, the gold price is making newer highs, newer higher lows, newer highs, and we also see that in the dollar price. So yeah, I've noticed that is sometimes the beginning of a new important greater cycle. So that is really important. I'm gonna show you also the crude oil price. That is also breaking through here this important resistance zone. So now that resistance zone is going to be a support zone. I'm going to extend this a little bit further. I'm going to zoom in to make you a little bit clear. Also, we see some, perhaps a golden cross. So that means that the shorter time moving average is moving upwards to other longer term moving average, and probable that other longer term moving average is also already moving upwards. So most of the time when this is happening, we see sometimes he's breaking higher, it's making a little bit of correction, and next is important that he do something like this. So maybe we see a little bit of weakness in the crude oil the next few weeks. Perhaps the product price will be continuing to moving up the first 2 weeks of April. The last 2 weeks of April, maybe we will see some correction. And if it's able to test this support, that means around the 80, 81, is testing and moving again back up. That would be very nice. And we should be looking at, perhaps more looking at energy stocks instead of maybe technology stocks. So voila, that for this month. I hope to see you all again in the month of May. I hope you have a very, very nice month and makes a lot of profits.